Okay, so you sent over a really interesting set of articles all about personality and motivation at work.
Yeah?
And it seems like you're trying to really get a grasp on how individual differences can
Yeah.
really impact things like teamwork and job satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Let's dive in.
You've hit a nerve there.
Oh, yeah.
It is fascinating how,
Yeah.
even with all this research out there,
Yeah.
companies still really struggle with keeping their employees motivated.
It really is
Yeah.
kind of a head scratcher, isn't it?
It is.
Like, why is that so difficult?
I know.
So
Yeah.
maybe by understanding personality better, we can maybe crack that code.
Absolutely.
Um, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of all this, let's just kind of start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly is personality?
The article, The Effect of Personality on Motivation, describes personality
Okay.
as this really unique blend of characteristics that make each of us who we are.
Yeah.
Like a psychological fingerprint that shapes how we think, feel, and act.
Okay, so then how does this fingerprint show up in a workplace?
Okay.
I mean, are we just talking about those like online personality quizzes, or
Definitely not.
is it deeper than that?
Much deeper.
Okay.
The research outlines 4 main theories of personality:
Okay.
traits,
Okay.
psychoanalytic,
Mhm.
humanistic,
Okay.
and social cognitive.
Okay. 4 theories.
Yes.
All right. I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Okay, so let's start with the traits theory,
Okay.
which focuses on identifying stable personality characteristics like
Okay.
being introverted or extroverted.
Mm-hmm.
Picture that classic office scene.
Yeah.
The introvert who loves working solo, digging into reports in a quiet corner,
Mm-hmm.
versus the extrovert who thrives on brainstorming sessions
Yeah.
and team projects.
Oh, yeah.
That's traits in action.
I can totally picture those colleagues.
Yeah.
Okay, so while the traits theory focuses on what we can observe,
Yeah.
the psychoanalytic theory kind of dives into those hidden depths of our mind.
The unconscious mind.
The unconscious mind, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
This theory was made famous by Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
It explores how the interplay of the ego, and the superego influences our behavior.
Okay.
In the workplace, you might see this play out in someone's ambition,
Okay.
their ability to manage impulses,
Yeah.
or even their approach to ethical dilemmas.
So our hidden desires
Yeah.
and internal struggles are at play even in our professional lives.
Absolutely.
That's pretty insightful.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the humanistic theory.
Okay.
Does that offer kind of a more positive
Absolutely.
outlook?
It emphasizes personal growth and that drive to reach our full potential.
Okay.
Think about that colleague
Hmm.
who is always seeking out challenges
Yeah.
and finding creative ways to contribute.
Yeah.
They're likely motivated by that inner yearning to make a meaningful impact and grow in their role.
Okay. I can see how that fits into the workplace.
Right.
So we've covered traits, we've covered the unconscious and this drive for self-actualization.
Right.
What about the last theory?
Okay, so the social cognitive theory highlights the impact of learning and our environment on personality development.
Okay.
Think about someone who receives praise for taking initiative.
Yeah.
They're more likely to continue that behavior.
Yeah.
This theory underscores how our experiences at work can actually shape our personality over time.
So it's not just about who we are when we walk in the door,
Right.
but also how the workplace kind of molds us.
It does.
Okay, it's fascinating how each theory offers a different lens for understanding personality.
Absolutely. And it's also important to note that every theory has its limitations. The goal isn't to declare one as the right answer,
Yeah.
but to appreciate the multifaceted nature of personality and explore it from multiple perspectives.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Seems like people always want to be like, what's the right answer? But there really isn't a right answer when it comes to personality. There's just many different ways to understand it.
Exactly.
So we've got a good grasp on the major theories now, but I'm curious about how this all translates to the real world.
Oh,
How does personality actually impact motivation
okay.
in a tangible way?
Well, one key finding
Okay.
from the effect of personality
Yeah.
is that people who are emotionally stable tend to be more receptive to various motivation techniques.
Okay.
For example, research has shown that offering emotionally stable employees opportunities for professional development courses is a highly effective motivator,
Okay.
while for less emotionally stable employees,
Yeah.
public recognition might be more effective.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting distinction. So
Yeah.
it's not a one-size-fits-all approach to motivation,
No, it's not.
which I guess we kind of knew already, but yeah.
The research also highlights that those with more aggressive personalities might only respond to hard motivators.
Oh,
Like money.
okay.
This can be a red flag for managers who are trying to cultivate a positive and motivating work environment.
Yeah, if somebody is only motivated by money, that could indicate some deeper issues or lack of genuine engagement with their work.
Absolutely.
So what other insights can you share
Okay.
about the link between personality and motivation?
Another fascinating aspect is the difference between introverts and extroverts, which we touched on earlier
Right.
with the traits theory.
Yeah, so I'm curious to know how their motivational drivers might differ.
Well, research suggests that introverts are often more responsive to hygiene factors.
Okay.
Think fair pay, job security, and a comfortable work environment.
Mm-hmm.
These are elements of a job that, while they don't necessarily motivate in themselves, can lead to dissatisfaction if they are missing.
Okay, so for introverts, it's kind of more about feeling secure and content with the basics
Yeah,
before they can be truly motivated.
that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Extroverts, on the other hand, tend to be more driven by motivators, like recognition
Oh,
or
yeah.
opportunities for advancement.
So introverts, stability and comfort.
Right.
Extroverts, growth and recognition.
Yes,
Okay. Understanding these nuances seems critical
absolutely.
for managers to be able to motivate their teams effectively.
Yes. Tailoring your approach to individual personalities is key
Absolutely.
for maximizing effectiveness.
So that brings up another point. How does personality impact the entire organization?
Okay.
Not just individuals. Like,
Yeah.
does it have kind of a ripple effect?
Definitely, when we consider the bigger picture, one of the most significant findings is the connection between personality and organizational tolerance.
Okay.
The effective personality points out that companies with a more homogeneous personality makeup,
Okay.
where everyone is very similar,
Mm-hmm.
maybe less tolerant of diverse viewpoints and fresh ideas.
So if everybody thinks alike, there's less room for innovation and adaptability.
Exactly.
Interesting.
On the flip side, having a mix of personalities
Okay.
can actually create a more harmonious and productive workplace.
Yeah.
Think about a team where you have a detail-oriented person balancing out a big-picture thinker,
Yeah.
or a creative person collaborating with a more analytical colleague.
That makes sense.
Those differing perspectives can lead to some amazing results.
It's about finding that sweet spot where different strengths can complement each other
Right,
rather than clash.
precisely. And when you have that balance, it can foster a more positive work ethic across the board.
So
Okay.
I'm curious about the link between personality and work ethic.
Well, the effective personality suggests that positive attitudes, often shaped by personality traits, directly influence work ethic.
Okay.
This aligns with the impact of employee motivation,
Yeah.
which found that team success or failure often hinges on the individual personalities and attitudes within the group.
So like a team full of negativity
Right.
wouldn't perform as well as a team that's more optimistic and driven.
That's a reasonable conclusion based on the research. It highlights how individual personality can ripple outward shaping team dynamics
Yeah.
and ultimately influencing an organization's success.
Okay, this is all incredibly fascinating, but I'm
Yeah.
sure our listeners like, okay,
Right.
how can I actually use this? Like,
Yeah.
it can't just be interesting trivia, right?
You're right. Let's shift gears
Okay.
and talk about practical applications.
Okay.
For starters,
Yeah.
understanding personality can be a game changer when it comes to recruiting.
Okay, so instead of just focusing on
Yeah,
skills and experience, you're suggesting that considering someone's personality can help you find the right candidate,
exactly.
someone who will actually thrive in that role and in the company culture.
Imagine you are trying to fill a specific role.
Yeah.
Knowing the personality traits that are most likely to succeed
Mm-hmm.
in that position can help you find the perfect fit,
Okay.
not just someone who looks good on paper.
That's a powerful tool for building strong teams.
It is.
And once you have the right people on board, how does this knowledge help with keeping them motivated?
Well, it's all about tailoring your approach to their individual personalities.
Yeah.
Like we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
Introverts and extroverts
Yeah.
are motivated by different things.
Right.
So you can create a motivating environment for everyone,
Yeah.
not just a select few.
What about the bigger picture?
Okay.
How can we use this knowledge to
Right.
create a better work environment overall?
By applying this knowledge, you can cultivate a more tolerant and productive work environment.
Okay.
Imagine a workplace where individual differences are not only accepted, but celebrated.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Happier employees, better teamwork,
Right.
a more successful organization in the long run.
Yes,
It sounds like this deep dive is giving our listener a lot to think about,
it is.
both in terms of
Yeah.
their own personalities
Absolutely.
and how it all plays out in the workplace.
This deep dive is about empowering you, the listener, with the knowledge and tools to thrive in the workplace. By understanding personality and its influence on motivation and organizational behavior, you can create a more fulfilling and successful work experience for yourself and those around you.
So what does this all mean?
Yeah.
It means personality isn't just some abstract concept.
Right.
It has a real impact on your work life,
It does.
both individually and organizationally.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
We haven't even touched on how companies actually assess personality.
Oh, right.
That's
So
the-
it can't all be about those online quizzes, can it?
Right.
What are some other ways companies are trying to figure us out?
That's a great question.
That's something to ponder
Yeah,
as we continue this deep dive.
exactly. It really is a bit of a mystery, isn't it? How do companies get a handle on someone's personality? Are those personality tests we talked about earlier
Yeah,
the be-all, end-all?
that's a great question. I've definitely taken my fair share of those tests,
Yeah.
but I've always wondered how accurate they really are.
You've hit on a key point. While some organizations rely heavily on personality tests,
Okay.
like the Myers-Briggs or the Big Five during the hiring process,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that these tests have limitations.
What kind of limitations are we talking about?
Well, for one thing, people can try to game the system
Okay.
if they think certain answers will make them seem like a better candidate.
Yeah.
They might not answer truthfully.
So the results might not reflect their true personality.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, didn't we talk about how personality can kind of change over time and in different situations?
It's complex.
So a test is really just giving you a snapshot.
A snapshot.
Okay, so if companies aren't solely relying on those tests,
Right.
what other methods are they using to assess personality?
Many organizations are incorporating behavioral interviews into their hiring process.
Okay.
Instead of just asking hypothetical questions,
Yeah.
they ask candidates to describe specific situations from their past work experiences.
So it's less about what you would do and more about what you've actually done
Precisely.
in real life scenarios.
By listening to how someone describes their actions and decisions,
Mm-hmm.
you can get a much better understanding of their personality traits
Okay.
and how they operate in a workplace.
That sounds a lot more insightful than the typical "tell me about your greatest weakness"
Right.
type of question.
Exactly.
Are there any other methods that companies are using?
Another interesting approach is using simulations or work samples.
Okay.
Let's say you're hiring for a sales position.
Yeah.
Instead of just asking about their sales experience, you might give them a mock sales call
Oh, wow.
to see how they handle it in real time.
So you're really seeing their behavior
Yes.
and personality in action
Exactly.
rather than relying on self-reporting.
By using a combination of tests, interviews, and simulations,
Yeah.
organizations can create a more well-rounded picture of a candidate's personality.
It seems like the key is to not just rely on one method, but to use multiple sources to really get a full picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's crucial to remember that assessing personality isn't just a one-time thing. That happens during hiring.
So even after someone's hired, company should still be paying attention to personality and how it impacts their performance
Absolutely.
and interactions.
Managers can use this knowledge to improve communication,
Okay.
resolve conflicts more effectively, and create a more positive and motivating environment for everyone.
That makes a lot of sense. This deep dive is giving our listener a lot to consider,
It is.
not just about their own personality,
Right.
but also how it all plays out in the workplace.
It's been a fascinating exploration, hasn't it? What's really exciting is that this field of research is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
New technologies and approaches are emerging all the time.
Yeah.
So our understanding of personality and its impact on the workplace will continue to grow.
We've covered so much ground today.
We have.
From the different theories of personality to how it impacts motivation,
Right.
the overall organization.
Yeah.
We even explored how companies are trying to get a
Yeah.
read on our personalities, both
Okay.
during hiring and beyond.
It's been a truly insightful journey,
Yeah.
and I hope it's given you, the listener, a fresh perspective on your own personality and how it interacts with this complex world of work.
And of course, we can't forget the importance of fostering tolerance and understanding in the workplace,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to those personality differences.
Creating an environment where people feel valued and respected, regardless of their personality traits,
Yeah.
is essential for building a thriving and successful organization.
Okay, we've explored a lot, but I feel like there's still more to uncover.
There always is.
Yeah.
Perhaps the most intriguing question we haven't delved into yet is,
Okay.
can we change our personality?
Wow, that's a big one.
It is.
Is it even possible to shift those deeply ingrained patterns of thinking and behaving?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah, okay.
And it's one that researchers are still grappling with.
So is there a definitive answer?
What?
Can we really change who we are at our core?
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
While some aspects of our personality might be relatively stable, research suggests that we're not completely set in stone.
So there's hope for us yet.
There might be.
Okay.
Certain experiences like therapy, personal growth workshops,
Yeah.
or even just conscious effort can lead to shifts in our personality traits and patterns.
So it's not about trying to become a completely different person,
Right.
but more about refining and evolving certain aspects of ourselves.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this idea of personality change has major implications for the workplace.
So.
Well, imagine a workplace that not only embraces personality differences,
Yeah.
but also actively encourages personal growth and development.
So it's like creating a culture of continuous learning and evolution.
Exactly.
Rather than trying to force everyone into predefined boxes.
And that's where the real magic happens.
Okay.
When individuals feel empowered to grow both personally and professionally, everyone benefits.
It sounds like a positive feedback loop.
It is.
Personal growth leads to a better work environment. Yes.
Which in turn encourages more personal growth.
Precisely. And this idea of personality change ties back to that concept of motivation we discussed earlier.
Right, because if people believe they can change and grow, they're more likely to be motivated to put in the effort.
That's a key insight.
Yeah.
It highlights the interconnectedness of personality, motivation, and organizational behavior.
Yeah.
They all influence each other in this dynamic, ongoing process.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to work.
Yeah.
It's not just about showing up and doing the tasks.
Right.
It's about understanding myself, my colleagues,
Yeah.
the environment we're all in.
And that awareness, that willingness to learn and grow, is what ultimately leads to a more fulfilling and successful work life.
I'm definitely feeling inspired.
Oh.
But before we get too carried away, let's bring it back down to earth.
Okay, where should we land?
Let's talk about some practical tips and strategies.
Okay.
What can our listeners actually do to navigate the workplace more effectively?
Wait, now that they have this new understanding of personality.
That's a great place to focus. Let's dive into those actionable insights that can make a real difference in your everyday work life.
Okay, so we've been in the depths of personality theory, but how about we swim back up to the surface and talk about some practical strategies. What can our listeners actually do with all of this information to navigate the workplace more effectively?
That's the real test, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knowledge is only powerful if you can actually put it into practice.
Exactly. So where do we even begin?
Well, self-awareness is the foundation. Understanding your own personality traits, strengths and weaknesses, is like having a roadmap that helps you navigate your professional journey more effectively.
So take some time for introspection. Maybe revisit those personality tests.
Yeah.
But with a more critical eye this time around.
Precisely. And don't just focus on the labels the test gives you.
Yeah.
Think about how your traits show up in your work habits, how you communicate, and how you interact with your colleagues.
So once we've got a good grasp on our own personalities, what's next?
Then it's about observing and understanding the personalities of those around you.
Okay.
Pay attention to how your colleagues communicate, what motivates them, and what seems to stress them out.
So it's kind of like being a workplace detective.
You could say that.
Trying to figure out what makes everybody tick.
But remember, it's not about labeling people or putting them in boxes.
Right.
It's about recognizing that everyone operates from a slightly different perspective.
Okay.
And has unique needs.
And that awareness can help us avoid
It can.
misunderstandings and conflicts.
Absolutely. For example, if you know a colleague is very introverted and needs some time to think things through before responding, you'll be less likely to misinterpret their silence as disengagement.
That's such a good point. It's about adjusting our communication style to kind of fit the personality of the person that we're interacting with.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about self-awareness, understanding others. What about motivation?
When it comes to motivation, remember that there is no one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
What motivates one person might not do anything for another.
Right. Like we talked about with introverts and extroverts.
Yeah.
Public awards ceremony might be an extrovert's dream, but an introvert's worst nightmare.
Exactly. Managers need to tailor their motivational strategies to the unique personalities of their team members.
So that individualized approach is key.
It is.
Recognizing that everybody has their own needs and motivators.
Yes, and it can make a huge difference in terms of job satisfaction and team productivity.
Okay, so we've got self-awareness, understanding others, and adapting our communication and motivation styles.
Right.
What other practical tips can we offer?
Don't be afraid to embrace those personality differences.
Okay.
See them as strengths rather than obstacles.
So instead of viewing them as challenges, view them as opportunities
Yes.
for growth and innovation.
When you have a team with a diverse range of personalities, you also have a wider range of perspectives, ideas, and problem-solving approaches.
It's that classic idea of two heads are better than one,
Right.
amplified by the power of diverse personalities.
Exactly. The key is to create an environment where everyone feels comfortable expressing themselves and sharing their unique talents.
And that kind of environment doesn't just happen magically, does it?
No, it takes conscious effort.
Okay.
It starts with leaders who genuinely value and appreciate diversity.
Yeah.
And not just demographic diversity, but diversity of thought and personality as well.
That's such an important point. It's about fostering a real culture of inclusivity,
Yes.
where everyone feels seen and heard.
Precisely. And when you have that foundation of respect and understanding,
Yep.
there's no limit to what a team can accomplish.
This deep dive has given us so much to consider.
It has.
It's not just about understanding personality on a theoretical level, but it's about using that knowledge to build a more fulfilling and successful work life for ourselves and everybody around us.
I completely agree. As we continue to learn and grow, both individually and organizationally, the future of work is full of possibilities.
Well said. Until next time, stay curious.